like digging into the depth of it because it's fun. I like to, you zoom out and you see the big picture, and then you zoom into the granular details a bit, and then you zoom back
Right.
out so you don't get lost in that sort of rabbit hole. But
Yeah.
it's when you dig into, okay, who was the author, who was the audience, what was
Yeah.
the historical surroundings of what they were talking, because you're dealing with a Babylonian and Assyrian ancient Near East problem in the Old Testament, and you're dealing with a Roman imperialism problem in the New Testament. And when you can
Right.
sort of frame that properly, you're like, okay, I should read this not as a 21st century American, but as a
Yeah.
first century Jew in Rome, or somebody coming out of the throes of Sumerian, Babylonian idolatry, pagan worship. Like, what are they doing? Why are they talking this way? What are the
Yeah.
genres? Like, why is it written poetically and hyperbolically, and when it could just be stated so plainly? Like, well, you're asking that from a Twitter culture who's doing 160 characters. It's not the same dialogue, So when you interface with the Bible, assuming that it's Facebook post culture, then you completely missed a lot of the robust richness that they intertwine into the work on purpose, because they're trying
Yeah.
to say a multitude of things with as few words as possible.
Yeah. And I think that's what you just said. They're trying to say a multitude of things with as few of words possible. I think that has been lost. Like, there are so many people who are capable of saying so many words and yet saying so little at the same time. And as I was listening,
Yeah,
and
that's
not
the opposite of today. That's
right,
the opposite of today. Quite overly loquacious to say very little.
yeah, yeah, that we speak of, and I heard it put this way once: we speak of everything that is nothing, and nothing of everything. We talk about things that don't matter, right? There's actually there's a great song that impacted me recently called "The Things That Matter," and it was all about that. How I can get angry in traffic over something that doesn't matter, right? Somebody cuts me off. The question is how much does that really matter? And then I'm not paying attention to the thing that's most important. Uh, as I listened back through this time, I had it read to me. I did an audible version of the Bible because I find so much time in the car. And as I listened to it, I said, wow, there's a reason, and it's what you got at. There's a reason that this book isn't read as much as it should be because of the Twitter culture. And nothing against Twitter, nothing against all the social media, but the quick need for the answer. It's like, no, you've really got to engage, right? I like the way you say interface, right? You've got to engage with that text to really appreciate it. And
Yeah,
you
because
know,
there's a really big difference between reading the Bible and studying the Bible, because the study presumes that you're also studying the surrounding scenario
yeah,
by which it's written.
yeah, you got to
Imagine
get,
imagine if we approached Shakespeare the way we try to shallowly minimize the Bible.
yeah,
Like, why is he talking this way? Like,
yeah,
nobody asked Shakespeare that. That's just how he writes. But now that it comes to like biblical authors, it's like, well, we need to put them in the 21st century vernacular. And what were they trying to say in English? No, no, you don't do that. Figure out what they were trying to say in Hebrew. What were they saying in Greek?
yeah. What were they saying?
Yeah,
And then you can bring it forward, right? Once you understand what they were saying in their setting, then you can bring it forward and understand how it applies today, right? Of course, that's necessary, but it is it's very interesting because it's this in, infatuation with the sense of what's in it for me, right?
it's a very self-centered evaluation.